I get it. I'm kind of with you that, hey, this group can get it done. This group with this offensive coordinator, this O-line, and this quarterback can get it done. And you want to be better everywhere, and maybe that receiver is in waiting. It'll be arriving in week 7, but I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think that they're counting on it to arrive in week 7 with Jamison Williams. But to his question, are there people out there? Sure, there's got to be people out there if you wanted to trade for them. And I suspect that the Lions are considering doing things like that. There are reports that, Mike Evans out of Tampa Bay, that he wasn't thrilled with what's going on with Tampa. He's in the last year of his contract out there. Doesn't look like it's a team that's going anywhere, but it's a team that's in a division that's so bad that, a less than 500 team can win the division. So does he want to stick around there, or does he want to go? What would Tampa ask as compensation in return for a rental, basically? But Mike Evans would be an upgrade over what the Lions have. I'm sure that there are other receivers that will become available as the season goes on prior to the trade deadline. But for right now, I think what you see is what you get with the Lions in the receiving room.
Did the names that we cycled through, Julio Jones, T.Y. Hilton, there was another one. None of those guys have signed yet, have they?
No, I don't think so.
For some reason, I thought T.Y. Hilton might have signed with the Cowboys. Kang, none of those guys have signed yet, right?
No.
Yeah. I mean, so it's still there. It can be done, but, I mean, look, nobody's done it yet, right? So it's not just Detroit. 31 other teams have not bid. So it'll be interesting. I think it's a trade deadline move. And there could be a lot of teams that see their seasons go south, and suddenly the Rams are shopping Cooper Kupp, or you mentioned Mike Evans, Tampa shopping Mike Evans. There are a couple other teams that could have down years, and I think that what's the guy's name in Indy? I think he's too young for them to move on from him. But when seasons go south, teams might start unloading veterans. So, and that could happen, and happen quickly. 248-539-9797, and the Lions retain some cap space that they could make that move. Feedback coming in. The largest need for the Lions isn't kicker, guys. It's wide receiver. Here we go again. They have no one after ASB, with JMO being suspended and an unknown when back. That's from Marvin.
Well, they do have Marvin. They have Marvin Jones, he's a very consistent receiver.
Yep.
He's not an all-pro type receiver anymore, but he's pretty consistent. And the rest of the group is what they had last year when they were still a really good offense.
Yep.
And there are two other additions that we don't really think about when we talk about receivers because they're not wide receivers. But Sam Laporte is brought here to catch the football as a tight end. Now, as a rookie, how much are you going to be able to do? I mean, we've seen previous rookie receivers with the Lions take a little time before they really hit their stride. But I get the feeling that Laporte is going to be one that they expect to hit his stride sooner than later. And then Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be used as a receiver. He's going to be a weapon, whether it's out of the backfield or in the slot or whatever they decide to do with him, because he's a mismatch. He's got receiving capabilities. Just as you line up as a wide receiver and you don't lose too much, and his elusiveness and his speed are off the charts.
248-539-9797. More of your feedback coming into the Carson Anderson inbox as we continue from outside Comerica Park. Unnamed texter says, Bam Knight's stats for last year were not very good. I wonder what they see in this guy over Reynolds or Jefferson. So the totality of his stats aren't. As he got more carries late in the year, his last 3 games, he averaged over 6 yards a carry. He had, I think it was 36 carries. Hold on for a sec. Give me a moment here. I apologize. 36 carries for 230 yards in their last 3 games. And I think that's where he kind of caught people's attention. So, we'll see if he can continue it in Detroit, if he even gets a chance at Detroit. He probably will, though. He's their third running back.
Yeah, I don't have big expectations for him at all. Not terribly impressed with what he has done. Doesn't mean he's going to be a bad running back. He's on the practice squad. And will he be activated for game? They have some other spots on the practice squad right now. Perhaps another running back will be added to that list.
248-539-9797. All right, Michigan State opens their season tomorrow. Michigan opens their season on Saturday. Got something that I think if you're a Spartan fan, you'd just love to see your team do. And for Michigan, I'll make a prediction of a freshman impact player that maybe people aren't thinking about. All that coming up here on Carson Anderson, 97.1.
Here's another guy that I think has really good value. And it's diminishing a little bit because they know he's probably going to be released. It's the guy that's had 4 sacks, and that's Julian Okwara. I think he's going to be an odd man out.
Trade.
Has performed well, but yeah, you have from now until Tuesday to try and get something in return for Julian Okwara. Is there a receiver out there that you believe can give you another weapon, another option that maybe another team is looking, hey, we want to cut to, but we need somebody on the edge to rush the passer, not a starter, but a backup guy.
Yep.
Is there a deal to be made?
So you don't think Okwara is going to make the team if he's
Julian? I don't think so.
Okay.
7 edge rushers is tough.
I know, and I know the number crunch there, but man, owns Enrique potentially making the team and him not?
But again, it's different position.
I know it's different position. It's just wow.
Brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Call 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. Interesting piece of breaking news in the NFL as multiple reports say that TJ Hockenson, the former Lion, has signed a contract extension with the Vikings where he went via trade last year. He is now one of the NFL's highest paid tight ends. The actual numbers not being reported as of yet, but he has signed that contract extension. And by the way, we are 1 week away from the Lions' much-anticipated opener versus the Chiefs in Kansas City. We'll have the Lions review show tonight. Dan Miller, Will Birchfield, Wojo to continue getting ready for the season. 7 o'clock show right here on The Ticket. Also, we had week 0. Now week 1 of college football season has arrived with plenty of openers tonight. Nebraska, Minnesota in the Big Ten. Ferris State, Grand Valley State will begin their campaigns in the GLIAC. And Western is the first D1 Michigan school to kick things off as they prepare to host St. Francis at Waldo. Yeah, that's their new head coach, Lance Taylor, for the Broncos. Also, high school week 2 on the gridiron. Clarkston trying to avoid an 0-2 start for the first time in over a decade. They play Southfield A&T. Number 3 West Bloomfield faces number 7 Birmingham Groves, and Romeo takes on Roseville among the other games. And Tigers baseball trying to snap out of their spiral. A day game versus the Yankees to complete their series at Comerica Park. Matt Manning will throw the opening pitch at 1:10 p.m. downtown. Also, Dan Dickerson with the call right here on 97.1. And the White Sox named former Michigan Mr. Baseball and U of M player Chris Getz as their new senior VP and general manager. He was born in Southfield and grew up in Grosse Pointe. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
Tigers Yankees coming up this afternoon here on 97.1 The Ticket. Doug Carr, Scott Anderson. So breaking news right before the update. Ian Rappaport reporting that the Vikings and T.J. Hockenson have agreed on a big contract, being called one of the highest for a tight end in the league. This is what Brad Holmes was trying to avoid when they moved on from T.J. Hockenson.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see what the numbers are.
How much of the cap it takes out.
Well, and compare that to running backs. And
Yep.
I shudder to think.
I mean, Hockenson was good.
He's a good receiver. He's a good tight end.
But
is he elite?
And could he be? I think he could be.
I don't know if he's elite.
I think he could be, but he just hasn't quite. He hasn't quite gotten there. And can he get there? He can. You don't think so, but I think he can.
I just think there's such a gap between maybe the top 3 or 4 tight ends in the league and what the next group is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Kelsey and Kittle really set the bar high.
Yep.
And I just think he's so far below those guys, and it's not a slam on him.
It's just that
I think
he is
part
what
of that.
he is.
It's that next tier of guys.
It's funny how you say the emphasis you put on a word like he's good. You say it like that. You know what I mean? No, you know what I mean, right?
No, exactly. I think he is good. I think he's very good, but he's not Kelsey or Kittle.
No,
it's clear he's not.
Okay.
And by the way, neither are 26 other starting tight ends in the league.
Yeah, sure. And I'd probably put him in the first top, right on the cusp of that top handful of tight ends. And when you have him, he's a weapon and you like him. I just don't know. We'll wait to see what he got paid, but they did not see like-minded thinking when it came to what he wanted and what they were going to pay him, so they moved on from him and got draft capital back. All right, so Michigan State CMU coming up tomorrow night. Gator, the more I thought about this game, there's a ton of emphasis, understandably so, on the quarterback position. But you know what? Michigan State, if they can line up, hand the ball off, and just pound the rock, just run the football, there's hope that the offensive line for Spartan fans are hoping that it will be better, hoping that and if you can run the ball, I don't know that you prove anything if you run the ball against Central, but you should be able to run the ball against the MAC team. And so, Central's defense, best I could tell, strengthen the secondary. So line up and pound it. And you want to take your new quarterback out for a spin, test drive, but the reality is running the ball in the Big Ten is still important. Michigan State finished 12th in the Big Ten last year and averaged 3.8 yards a carry. That number, again, with a good offensive line, should go up. So take the offensive line out for a test drive.
Well, it has to go up, and if it doesn't, then this is going to be a horrible year for Spartan football. I think they're going to be able to run the ball better than what they did last year. They have to do it. I think getting more experience on that offensive line, just being better on the offensive line. Transfers coming in should help this offense out as well. Nathan Carter, the transfer running back they got from UConn, he's a good back, and I think he's kind of a little bit going under the radar. They've got Berger, who is solid. He's not outstanding, but he's solid. I think were the Bam Knight stats we were talking? Was he the one that went to NC State?
Yeah.
And I said, look how remarkably consistently just good it was. 750 yards every year for 3 years in a row, but never really had that breakout year. That's kind of what I see with Jalen Berger. He's just solid. But Nathan Carter is, I think, ability to hit the home run, and he can he can get after it. But they have to show the ability to run because right now we don't know what they have with the quarterback. Like you said, take the quarterback for a spin. Yeah, we got to see I want to see what they have. But hopefully they're able to run the football so they don't have to resort to throwing the football so much this early.
So I was on a major website, and they had a list of under-the-radar rookies in the NFL that we may talk about today, maybe tomorrow. An under-the-radar rookie for Michigan that didn't get a lot of fanfare as far as a commit, but I think people should keep their eye on Saturday and beyond. They have a 3-star cornerback, DJ Waller, from Youngstown, Ohio, who wasn't considered the best corner in their class, but he's a 6'3" corner who can really run, very athletic, and rookies, freshmen have a long way to go and a lot to learn. But I think he's one to keep your eye on, Michigan fans, and I think you'll see him Saturday, number 13 out there on the edge. So that's my freshman prediction. Kind of an under-the-radar guy to keep an eye on.
All right.
They're not. See, the weird thing about this Michigan season, Gator, and you know it because you've been a long-time college football fan. Every year when a season starts and it's going on in East Lansing, there's new toys, right? There's new quarterback, new running back, new receivers, like guys who are going to get opportunities that you've heard about, you've read about, but it's exciting when you're breaking in new skill position players. That's not really going on in Ann Arbor. Michigan's bringing back, the excitement is centered around bringing back kind of the same team. I mean, they lost some guys, but there's not a lot of new this year. It's a lot of the same old. So the freshmen aren't creating much buzz because they're just not going to play a ton because there's veterans ahead of them. But now if you get into blowout situations, which could happen, then those guys will get chances. So, but it's been a weird year because I'm always used to there being some new toys, skill position guys, and the receivers are going to play. But it's a little different because the team is basically last year's team.
Now, maybe I'm reading too much into this, but I'm watching the news last night, and it was sports on Fox 2, and I think it was Dan Miller who was doing it. And they had a clip of a Michigan player at the podium. And again, maybe I'm making too much of this. But it was a running back, and it wasn't Blake Corum, and it wasn't Donovan Edwards that got up in front of a podium. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And I can't remember what the player's name was. But
they've basically paraded out everybody.
So, but I just find it interesting. And that a soundbite is used from a guy that you may or may not see. So is that like the next guy who's laying in the wings? Because obviously Corum and Edwards are going to get the lion's share of the carries, and those guys are outstanding running backs.
It's the way they've done PR the last couple of years is they have given just about everybody a chance to talk to the media. It's not the same crew. The only time you get the same crew is after losses. You get captains, right? You got to get the veterans. But they are really, really have expanded the roster. I don't know if you should read anything into it as far as he's the next. It was probably Kalel Mullings.
It was.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Who has the dad probably a big Superman fan because his name is Kal-El.
I hadn't made that correlation, but I will make notation of it for Saturday's broadcast.
Put it in the bucket.
248-539-9797. Phone calls, feedback. Did you see this last night? And if so, could it be done here? We'll get to that at 11:20 here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Look, do I want to kick the tires on Robbie Gould? Absolutely. Absolutely. See, what do you still got the leg? Do you still want to play? You know, what's the reason he hasn't been signed by anybody yet? There are a plethora of teams that need a kicker.
Yeah.
Is there something else going on there? If there's not, then I think the Lions, who are the other teams you mentioned that Rossini mentioned?
Rams.
Okay, get the Rams.
The Rams, Falcons, but hold on, let me look it up.
So it's like the Rams and Niners both kick outdoors.
Rams, Lions, Titans, Niners, Broncos.
So it's just the Lions are the only ones that are kicking indoors?
Rams.
Oh, right. Well, is it?
It's kind of got the retractable walls. So.
Yeah. And I don't think the Rams are looking to add a veteran kicker to their roster, do you? It's a really young team. And
I wouldn't.
Looks
I
like you're
wouldn't
starting
think so,
over.
but, yeah.
So, I mean, the Lions would have the best situation, wouldn't you think?
Well, the situation being indoors with a competitive team as opposed to San Francisco's situation. But San Francisco, remember, they're not signing Robbie Gould, and they had him last year.
Right.
Something's up with Robbie Gould. Doug Carr, Scott Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket. Open lines, 248-539-9797. We are outside Comerica Park and streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv. And so you can see us where we are outside Comerica Park. If anything exciting happens, we'll start moving the camera around so you can see it. Sometimes funny stuff happens here outside the stadium. Also on YouTube, go to youtube.com and search up 971 The Ticket, and bam, there we are. Also streaming with the Odyssey app. Download it for your mobile device today, AUDACY, and streaming to our website, 971theticket.com.
If I'm in Puxatawney, Pennsylvania,
Yes.
and I was dying to find out what happened to the Lions practice squad,
Yes.
and I wanted to hear the radio, what do I do?
Let me Google search that. It says download the Odyssey app for your mobile device, and then you can stream our station.
How do you spell Odyssey?
AUDACY, according to Google.
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead and get that. Someday you'll wish you had it, so it's free. You may as well. All right, so last night, did you see what Nebraska volleyball did?
I knew what they were going to do, and I saw just a quick story on it this morning, but I didn't pay too much attention because
Yep.
it's volleyball.
Yep.
But it was pretty amazing to see 90,000 people in a football stadium watching a volleyball game between Nebraska and Omaha.
92,003 people. 92,003 people. They sold out Memorial Stadium at Nebraska. They put a volleyball court in the middle, and they played in front of a football crowd. Now, we've seen variations of this. Of course, the outdoor hockey game between Michigan and Michigan State at Spartan Stadium kind of started a lot of this. They played at the Big House. The Red Wings played Toronto. There's been a number of games since, okay, that Detroit, Michigan State have been involved in. Michigan State played at Soldier Field one year. They didn't play. Did they play each other? They did. Yeah, they played each other there. You had a Michigan-Ohio State game in Cleveland. Look, the outdoor hockey, we've seen it, right? So this was a unique spin on it. And then honestly, there was two things about it. One is my daughter played soccer growing up with Harper Murray, who is at Nebraska as a freshman. And she started Ann Arbor Skyline, was recruited by everybody, ended up going to Nebraska. She played in that game last night. People might remember her dad. Veda was a safety at Michigan.
Veda Murray,
And Veda Murray and Trip Welburn were the safeties back in the day. And they had this, really Michigan fans will remember, they blocked a ton of field goals and extra points.
Yeah.
And it was because they could jump out of the stadium, both of them, and they blocked a ton of field goals and extra points. And, of course, along comes Harper. Her sister actually played at Michigan, and Harper can jump incredibly high and was a great soccer
Is that
player.
an asset in volleyball?
Yes. She played in that game last night, and so we were cheering her on. It was great to see. But the spectacle was unreal. Now, can it only be done in Lincoln, Nebraska?
Well, I was just going to say, is it because is Nebraska the hotbed of volleyball in the country?
They got a great program.
Or was this just a one-off because they wanted to raise money for charity? Was it, hey, come one, come all, and we're going to try to break the record? Is this a Guinness thing, some sort of gimmick? I don't care what the reason is. You get 92,000 people to watch anything. It's impressive. But I'm just wondering, is this a situation where the rest of the season you're going to get, friends and family to come to the volleyball games?
They pack out their volleyball games.
Okay.
They play. Now, they obviously don't play every game in a football stadium. They have I think they might sell out their volleyball games.
Okay,
But
that's impressive.
Yeah. So, and the crazy thing is the Big Ten is the strongest conference in the country.
For volleyball?
Yeah.
Really?
Penn State ran it for years. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Nebraska. You gotta stop.
I
know. These are like top 10 programs. It's the strongest conference in the country. But here's a question. Could it be done at the Big House or Spartan Stadium for a non-rev? And I picked two in particular. Michigan's softball program is one of the best in the country, and they made numerous trips to the College World Series and win the Big Ten all the time, down here last year, but they have a great tradition there. Could they pack the Big House for Michigan softball?
Does the field fit in there?
I think you could fit a field in there, yes. It's only I think it's 200 down the lines and 220 to dead center. You could find a way to fit it in there. Two is Michigan State, their women's soccer team won the Big Ten last year. Could you fill Spartan Stadium? Again, I'm not talking about on a regular basis, because I think if Nebraska held another volleyball game there next week, it wouldn't sell out.
Right.
Like it's.
But can you do a one-off?
Can you do a one-off with a non-rev in Ann Arbor or East Lansing and actually sell out the stadium?
Well, this is completely in your wheelhouse. Because while I'm watching...
Did I just ask you a question that you have no idea?
I mean, while I'm watching crappy Arnold Schwarzenegger movies that nobody's ever heard of and saying how awful it is and letting you know how awful it is,
right?
You're busy watching women's volleyball, some matchup between Rutgers and Maryland, and letting us know what happened, or a women's softball game.
Not really.
Yeah.
But do I watch them?
You
yes.
watch the Big
Do
Ten
I care to
Network
Am I smart enough to know that the audience? Hey, look. If they ask, I'm ready. But
you may not bring it to the table, but this is what you're watching. So
I do watch a lot of Big
wheelhouse.
Ten. I like
Not mine.
I like college athletics a lot.
I couldn't tell you.
No, but okay. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I guess maybe it's just a straight question. Would you go just to be a part of the event? It looked so freaking cool last night. You brought up a picture, and you're like, wow.
It looked impressive. It was really impressive.
Yeah.
Look, for me, I've never been the guy that just wants to go to the event.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go to the event, I want to have good seats so I can enjoy the event, not just say I was there.
Right.
It's why I didn't go to WrestleMania 3 when it came to the Silver Dome when they had 93,000 people packing the dome. And I was a massive wrestling fan back then as a high schooler, but I didn't go because I knew unless you have good seats, it's not worth going to. Same thing with, like, you get to the Final Four. I've been to the Final Four here because I had a pass or something to get
the
in.
college hockey?
For
Or the
college
basketball?
hockey, for
Oh,
both.
okay.
Frozen Four and for the Final Four. I got into to both events here at Ford Field, but typically, I wouldn't pay for it because it's going to be pricing myself out to get the good seats. So I'm not the guy that goes to that just for the event.
Right.
Plenty of people are, and I don't. You do what you do. You want to go there, and it's great for you to enjoy that. And it did. I can't deny it. It looked awesome.
It really was. I mean, when it was over, it just turned into it looked like a giant dance party, and there was a drone show. The lights that they do with Nebraska, the big N in the sky moving around, and they had fireworks. It looked like people weren't leaving.
They had a concert, Doug, after the match, I believe.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, country star Scotty McCreery. I know you're a big country fan.
Wow. That is a big name.
And they sold alcohol for only the second time in the history, I guess, at the stadium.
Well, they
because they're one of the holdouts in the Big Ten that isn't selling, right?
The volleyball coach got up and said apparently they canceled class yesterday because of it. And he mentioned that basically the only thing that cancels classes in Nebraska were snowstorms, pandemics, and now Nebraska volleyball was his joke. But I don't know. I mean, look, like we said, one-off. I think it's tough to do in our market because there's so much more going on. In Lincoln, Nebraska, it's a fine little community, but there's no real other sports going on, and their football team's on the road tonight. So it was like kicking off the football experience just with a volleyball game. I don't know. Like you said, I'm probably more adept to answer. I think it'd be tough to sell them out because of all the other entertainment options we have in Ann Arbor and East Lansing and close by.
Well, I think it might be easier in Ann Arbor to do it because of the proximity it is to Detroit and Metro Detroit, I should say, with the larger communities there. East Lansing, you're going a little further out to find the bigger cities to attract people to come to it.
Yeah. 248-539-9797. Phone calls, feedback. Carson Anderson. Gator, you said this felt like a trade. We'll explain today at 11:35 outside Comerica Park on 97.1 The Ticket.
A Milwaukee bar has something concocted for football season. They will pay your tab when the Jets lose a game started by Aaron Rodgers this season. Did you see this?
I did. I think it's awesome. I think it's genius.
Now, there's some stipulations, right, Heather? I know, like, they're not comping your whole meal.
Right. You can't comp your food. You have to stay at the bar the entire
Right. You got to be there and start your tab at least 15 minutes before kickoff.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers has to start the game. And so it can't conflict with a Green Bay Packers game as well, which
exactly
rules out certain Sundays.
Yeah,
so
unless there's
like
some things flexed at the end.
4 games, I think, in total that they'll do this.
So basically, it's prime time games, featured games where Rodgers starts for the Jets, they lose, and they're buying your beer or your drink for you.
Yes.
If we had a promotion like that here in Detroit, if a local bar adopted this, would it be Aaron Rodgers? Would it be a different athlete? Like, who would be our villain that we would get comped a free drink if they lose?
I make a quick observation about watching the Yankees come to town.
I think I know what you're going to say, but
I don't think you know what I'm going to say.
okay, never mind.
Because it's about the Yankees in particular.
Okay.
I find it very uncomfortable watching Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton step into the batter's box. They look like the goon squad just came in. These guys are giant and look like they have nothing to do with baseball, and yet here they come, and they just smack the ball all over the place.
With toothpicks in their hands.
I mean, it's really the disparity in the size of someone like that versus anybody that the Tigers have. Like, Tork's a solidly built guy, right? He's like 6'2", 220.
Yeah.
He's actually muscular. Looks nothing like that. I mean, looks like just a puny little fella compared to this guy.
Yep.
You look at somebody who might be taller. You know, I think Parker Meadows, I think might be 6'3", 6'4", stepping in the left side of the plate. Looks tiny in comparison. These guys are freaking giants. Yep. And I feel like it's just unfair.
There should be. Are you saying there should be size limitations?
There should be size limitations. I'm sorry, son. You're just too big to play baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, Judge hitting a home run every 10 at-bats this season is less than 10 at-bats is incredible. And Stanton just stands up there like daring you to throw. Go ahead. I dare you. I dare you to throw it over the plate. And they do, and he smacks it 425 feet to center field for over the fence for a home run. It's just very uncomfortable a look.
18, Gator. 18. 18.
18?
Yep. That's how many games out of first they are.
The Yankees?
Yeah.
Well, I feel good about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I feel pretty good there.
So there's that.
So they won't make the playoffs.
No, they won't.
That's too bad.
In spite of having the
In spite of winning the last 3 in a row against the Tigers.
Tigers are 9.5 out.
It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable with that. With the Tigers, they get to that 10 games below 500 mark, and they can't do much better than that. Like maybe 9, they dip to 9, and then they'll lose 3 in a row.
Yep.
And it happened again.
Yep.
And the Twins keep losing, and just everybody. This division is so bad. I could make an argument that the Detroit Tigers are the best team in the division, and my argument is based on their record against their division.
Yeah.
Because I believe it's the best record in the division, and guys, they can't beat anybody in the East, and they struggle elsewhere too. But it's just a frustrating season.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yes,
I wanted to use the word look like a bunch of goons up there.
Okay.
Because they do, and
all
they're
right.
really good.
So you made the observation that Emmanuel Moseley being activated feels like a late trade, and you're kind of right. I had gotten close to the write him off for the first half of the season place. And which, I'm not going to say it was nonsensical to feel that way, but he hadn't been around, hadn't gotten updates, and coming off a knee injury, and maybe there's going to be some learning or some getting used to being back out there. And there's always, whenever you come back from knee injury, it's some hesitation that you got to get over, but it is a welcome addition, and quite frankly, maybe other people were counting on it, but I wasn't, and it's a good observation by you. It just feels like a late trade that they made, that they're getting a potentially in game one, potentially a starting caliber corner.
Well, I mean, a couple of days ago, it's like, is Chase Lucas going to make this roster?
Right.
What are you going to do about Starling Thomas? They got to do something. They need to shore up the cornerback spot, and then. Moseley is playing. It's problem solved.
I mean,
and yet I think the expectation should be pretty low to start off with because he hasn't practiced.
No, he hasn't, and they took him off the PUP list because if they left him there, he wouldn't have been able to play in the first 4 games, and they think he's going to be able to play. Essentially, it cost him Starling Thomas, right? I mean, if he's left on the PUP list, Starling Thomas is probably a Lion today, and let's hope that Starling Thomas doesn't go on to do incredible things in his career. But if you identified as many guys as they have, they'll find another one. But suffice to say, yeah, it's a nice addition, and it's going to hammer Jamison Williams at wide receiver halfway through the year.
It's going to feel similar.
Yep. So anyway. Yeah. I don't know if there's been any update as to when he might play. I
mean,
here's the thing: if he doesn't play in the opener,
I won't be surprised.
I won't be either. And it's again, if he does play in the opener, there's more time to recover. But I mean, he would still be 2.5 weeks away from playing time.
Yeah, or do you activate him to get him a dozen plays or 20 plays or whatever it would be, or do you not do that because
when the Lions are running out the clock?
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like the way you're thinking. Garbage time. Give him a look.
We're playing Kansas City.
Yeah,
it's not like they're playing Kansas City. What?
For the bulk of our life, that's a good line. For the bulk of our life, that was kind of true. Yeah, it's Kansas City. Well, guess what? Now it's Kansas City. 248-539-9797. All right, Gator, I want to take some texts on this.
How many?
We could do more than 10.
Oh, okay.
ESPN put out a list predicting the top 100 players in the NFL. Okay?
Okay.
Did you see it?
I did not.
This is not a who are the top 100 last year. This is who they think
it will be top 100 this year. No,
yes.
I've not seen the list.
Okay. Do you think any Lions made it?
Yes.
Okay, who do you think made it?
I would think that Jared Goff made it. I would think that Frank Ragnow made it. Aiden Hutchinson. Penei Sewell. And I will Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I will leave it at that.
Okay. 4 of those guys made the list.
How many did I list?
One of them did not.
Okay, one.
Yep. The 4 that made the list were Amon-Ra at 61, Aiden Hutchinson at 67, Penei Sewell at 72, and Jared Goff at 91.
I'm sorry. So Ragnow did not make the list?
Ragnow did not make the list.
What is up with these lists? NFL.com had their top 100, and Ragnow, I don't believe, was on that list.
There may be concern over the injury, but
don't they know how much shrimp cocktail this guy can eat?
well, if they didn't before, they should now.
We all know now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jared Goff.
Yeah, our interview with Goff earlier in the week. So a few things about it. Surprisingly, Jordan Love didn't make the list.
Did not make the list?
No, he did not.
Okay.
I was shocked, actually.
So they're not expecting him to be one of the top 100
No.
players?
11 quarterbacks were ahead of Jared Goff.
11.
Yep. Including Aaron Rodgers. They still think he's got a lot to give.
Sure.
Tua.
Yeah. I know you don't like that, but I like Tua. Tua's got a couple of really good weapons.
If Frank Ragnow doesn't make the list because of injury, Tua's making the list?
Well, Tua, if he's healthy.
Frank Ragnow, if he's healthy.
No, listen, I think Frank should be on the list.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but Tua belongs on the list, too. He's got 2 guys to help him out a lot in Waddle and
do they?
Hill. Yeah, they help a little bit.
Dak is ahead of Jared Goff.
I don't know about that.
Goff is the 11th or 12th quarterback. There are 11 quarterbacks ahead of him. But, Gator, here's the question for the audience and why I'm seeking texts.
Okay.
Right here, right now, predict which Lion will break onto that list. Who's the next Lion to get onto that list of the top 100? Because there's a lot of guys.
Other than Frank Ragnow?
Yeah, I mean, you could say Ragnow.
Well,
I mean,
no,
you feel like he should be there now.
He should be there now. But okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. Who would you say is the next guy to get onto that list? 248-539-9797. Want to take text on that. There's a number of candidates. I want you to come up with a name in your head, and I want you to hang on to it. And I will do the same, and I will hang on to it, and then we'll read the texts and see if anybody agrees with us. Kang, can you do the same? Who do you think the next Lion will be to make this list?
You got it, Doug.
All right.
And you hang on to it, Kang.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
you keep
will
it in your
tightly.
head and-
Yes.
Yes. And we'll take texts. So the Lions that made ESPN's predicted top 100 players of the coming season: Amon-Ra, Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, and Jared Goff. If you had to bet all of your worldly possessions.
Wow. Wait a minute. That's not what you said.
No, it's not. I'm changing it. But right at this point, all of your worldly possessions are on the line.
How about just one guitar?
Can we just bet $13?
Yeah, how about that?
Do I get to choose which guitar?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
248-539-9797. Who text us right now who you think should be on that list. This time next year. He will have broken into, or at the end of the year maybe is a better way to put it. He'll be on the list of top 100 players. Because this seems to be the new thing is rate
You just
100
made the
players.
list.
Yeah, rate 100 players. Seems to be the big deal. All right, I got my name. You got your name. Kang has his name. And we'll read the people's choices next. Text them at 248-539-9797. Outside Comerica Park, it's Carson Anderson, 97.1 The Ticket.
I imagine everybody has a please God don't cut this guy that's on the Lions roster. Please don't cut him. Like you think that this guy could be something, a diamond in the rough. You don't want to see him go by the wayside. Who would that player be for you? And Kang, I'll start. For me, that guy is Antoine Green. He's the wide receiver that they drafted in the seventh round from North Carolina. He was the 219th player selected in the draft. I love his combination of size and speed. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He's fast as hell. And he's somebody that I think could benefit from Jamison Williams not playing for the first 6 games. Because he could be a guy that you can bring off the bench. In situations, you spread him out with 4 receivers, and this guy can go deep. And you're going to have to account for him because he's got the speed and because the size might be a mismatch.
Doug Carr, Scott Anderson. We are outside Comerica Park here on 97.1 The Ticket. What are you looking at me for? What's that about?
Nothing at all.
You kind of gave me the side eye.
I wasn't giving you this side eye. I'm
You were
staring
giving me the
right at you.
side
If I'm giving you side eye, stand here and go like that. That's side eye. This isn't side eye. I'm staring right at you.
You gave me the look you gave me was this.
I give a look like that. What, like I was
Yes, you
sizing
did.
you? Thought I was sizing you up?
Yeah, you were sizing me
I
up.
may have been sizing you up.
You
want
to go, Anderson?
If you want a piece of this. No, you know what I was actually doing? I was like, I was checking the height, and I'm like, because I know you're taller,
Yeah.
but for some reason I feel tall today.
Were you seeing if I was still taller?
No, I just wanted to see.
People
what
don't go through growth spurts at our stage of life.
You don't know that.
Well, I'm pretty sure.
I feel like today's a good height day for me.
I got to tell you,
Sometimes a good hair day.
if there's ever a time to log on to Twitch, it might be when we come to blows outside of Comerica Park. But
It's a good height day.
a good height day. A good height day?
Feels like a good height day.
Does it?
Well, I mean, I feel like, I know you're not standing completely erect, but yeah, it's.
I mean, the show's good and all, but no,
yeah,
I'm not standing
look,
erect.
You're 6'3" plus. I'm trying to hang on to 6'1" as much as I can.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, it's all right. I wasn't.
You were giving me a side eye.
No, I already know.
It's a good height day. I don't know that my height varies from day to day.
I just came up with it, man.
Yeah.
I'm rolling with it.
All right, so we got a whole bunch of people suggesting names here, and when you hear, you guys tell me to stop when I say a name that you think will be on the list next year.
All right.
This is ESPN predicting who will be the top 100 players in the NFL this year, and 4 Lions made it: Amon-Ra, Aiden, Penei Sewell, Jared Goff. So we said who will be on this list at the end of the year, when everyone comes out, who are the top 100 players. When you hear the names, they stop. Mario in Detroit says Kirby Joseph. An unnamed texter says Aleem McNeil.
Good names.
John on a Justin from St. John's Golf Course in Plymouth.
Oh.
Khalif Raymond will be on the list next year for sure. 800-plus yards and 8 touchdowns. Wow. We like Khalif Raymond, but wow.
Does that get you top 100? 808?
I'm not sure it does, but
combine that with several touchdowns in return game, and maybe.
And we are big Khalif Raymond guys here, but man, I'm in on Frank Ragnow after the shrimp cocktail story.
Should be.
Yep. Jack Campbell is the next guy on the list. That's from Will.
Doug's going to tell him to stop.
I'm not.
Whoa. There's not room on that leg, man.
Owen in a truck says the no-brainer has to be C.J. Gardner-Johnson if he does half of what he did last year. Stop.
Oh, that's your guy.
Yeah. Now, I think he needs to do what he did last year. I don't think he needs to do half of what he did last year. I think he needs to do what he did last year. If you lead the league in interceptions 2 years in a row, I think you're going to get on that list.
You definitely deserve consideration.
Yeah.
The reason I thought about him, but I thought he's a one-year guy. So, I guess, I don't know. I just discounted it because he's a one-year guy.
That he might not be a Lion by the time that list comes out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jacob from Brighton says Jahmyr Gibbs.
Stop.
Ooh,
we
Kang.
I think
Saucy
Jahmyr Gibbs.
call.
Is it? I don't know. Maybe, but I think this guy is going to be unleashed this year. And I think we did the template a couple weeks ago, me and you, Doug, about the running back situation with the Lions. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be on the field so much, and he's going to get the ball as much as possible. It doesn't matter if it's a safety or a linebacker. This guy is going to one move into the house type threat every single time. And I think he's going to be on the list of top 100, predicted to be top 100 players next year.
So what's interesting about him is that for a guy breaking in as a rookie with his skill set, this is really a good place to be because they are short wide receivers, right? So he is going to get opportunities out of the backfield and to catch the football, or he'll be lining up at a wide receiver spot. So I could see him having a huge statistical year.
He might be on
No,
my
I think he's-
draft list for fantasy football, guys.
Oh, is that right? Don't give it away.
I think he's a guy who's going to have a ton of yards this year, rushing, receiving. I think you're looking at well over 1,000 yards combined, and maybe approaching 1,500. I'd love to see that.
Jamel in Dayton says Brian Branch. Brian in Auburn Hills says Jahmyr Gibbs will be the next one on the list. Ben
Stop
in Commerce says Ben in Commerce says Jahmyr Gibbs.
Hey, jarring something loose there, Ty.
Yeah.
AC on 94, Kirby Joseph, Nate in a truck, Jack Campbell, Brandon in Farmington, CJ Gardner-Johnson. And Doc McComb says, Brian Branch, your name, nobody said the name. Wow, Kang. Where is he going with this? I want to start a guessing game. Who does Gator think? Somebody said Ragnow.
Yep. Told you I was going to go with Ragnow.
Yeah.
Even though I think he'll be on the list, but I'm not going to go with that.
Okay. Kang, any ideas?
I mean, he doesn't love Hendon Hooker that much, does he?
He does love Hooker.
I know he loves
He
Hooker.
made that clear.
Loves it.
Made it very clear.
Big fan of Hooker.
Okay, I think I can venture a guess. You're not going all in on Sam Laporta, are you?
No. But I'm going all in on somebody.
It sounds like it. David Montgomery?
No.
Kang, you got any guesses?
Gator, who are you? Are you sure about this, Gator? Did you play the game correctly here? Are you naming a
I
current
hope I
line?
did. I'm pretty sure I'm playing this correctly. It's not without some controversy.
JMO.
Okay.
No.
Ooh.
Oh, not JMO.
I thought you had him.
Yeah, me too.
All right, what free agent does he think they're going to sign?
It's a guy. Why don't I just tell you who it is?
I don't know. I want to guess this.
All right, well.
Somebody said Aleem McNeil.
I considered Lee McNeil.
Did you?
I did.
John Kaminsky?
No. But
Anyone
that's an
say
interesting
Broderick
one.
Martin?
Nobody said that, and that's not it.
Look at the Twitch feed. Let's see if James Houston?
My man.
Okay, credit Derpy Shepherd on Twitch.
I'm all in. I'm all in on on James Houston. When that story came out,
You almost got cut, Gator.
right? There are a couple people ran with it, and then thinking that I'm like, you're nuts. This guy, his pass rush rate was fantastic last year in the half a season, right?
Yep.
Less than half a season, whatever it was. I think he's got a special talent, and that talent is rushing the passer. And I think he's going to get plenty of reps in there this year. He's going to get in there on obvious passing downs. He's going to get to the quarterback. I think he's going to surpass his sack total from a year ago. He's going to have many more opportunities because he's playing more. And that's the guy that when all the season's all said and done with, he may end up being the sack leader on the Lions. He may do more than Hutchinson. I mean, think of it. Hutch had, 9.5 last year? I think Houston had 8.5 or 8.
Yeah.
And he played half the games that Hutch played. So, yeah, I'm going all in on James Houston.
I mean, the numbers were like 80-something pass rushes and 8 sacks. If you give him 250 pass rushes, and the stat that he could be accumulating is a gaudy on-the-marquee stat. It's funny because I think the most underrated stat is tackles for loss. We give so much credit to the sack, but dropping a guy a 4-yard loss in the backfield on a handoff is just as valuable.
Dropping a guy for a 1-yard loss. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Line, yeah.
A tackle for loss. I find that we emphasize sacks, and I really need to change my line of thinking because, honest to God, what's the difference between a sack or a tackle for loss? Tackle for loss is absolutely every bit as valuable, and it also speaks, by the way, to your versatility because it means you're more than just a pass rusher.
Statistically, do they keep that separate? Is it sacks and then tackles for loss?
A sack also counts as a tackle for loss. So if you have
for both college and pro,
if you have 11 sacks and 13 TFLs, it means you had two
tackles.
Yeah.
Were
so,
Gator, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So do you think he's gonna have to play like a lot more? Or can he do this being a specialist? Making this list for you,
I think he can do it as a specialist, but I think because he's going to be so good at it that he's going to see the field more, because it is a passing league. You got the obvious passing downs, your 3rd and 5 and more, or your 3rd and longs, but I think you're going to have plenty of opportunities on second and long that you're going to put him in there. He's just I think he's just ultra talented in that area, and you can't keep him off the field, and you shouldn't keep him off the field. I think we're going to see situations the Lions will have, like on third and long, they're going to have 4 pass rushers on the line. You'll have Kaminsky and Hutchinson and Aquara and James Houston, or Charles Harris with Hutchinson and Houston and then Aquara or whatever. I think you're going to see those types of situations.
They're very, very different, but I guess my only concern with James Houston is that he's the next Kerry Hyder, like a guy who had that one year where he put up huge numbers.
Yeah,
now,
but it was for a whole season.
It was for a whole season, and this guy did it for half a season, which it's interesting because you are using that as that takes the ceiling to a higher. You can also say he hasn't even done it for a whole season. He only did it for half a season. He has a lot to prove yet. I hope you're right. I think this is a great call by you. Well done. It only took us like 6 guesses.
That's how far down the list is for us.
The entire roster, yeah.
Just about.
Well, I mean, there's the thing. I believe in the guy. So when I heard that story last week, I was like, "Are you kidding me? What are we even talking about?"
You were pissed.
Mm-hmm. I was pissed. Yeah. It started with Kyle Meinke with the M-Live story?
He had his breakdown,
Come on, man. And he's on the 53-man roster, but he said, well, he could be a bubble guy. And then Pro Football Focus or somebody else had their
They wrote about it. They said he was a tradable candidate.
Yeah, and I'm like, what do you – no.
I think it was personally, I think it was an interpretation of when he was playing in preseason games. I think he was playing late in preseason games because they were trying to develop a skill set outside of a pass rush, so they were putting him on the field in meaningless games to say, hey, we want you to drop into coverage, which he did.
Sure.
We want you in this run stuffing down to be on the field.
We know we're going to play in this situation, but let's check you out on first down.
But I think it was interpreted as a possibility of a sign that he was battling on the fringe of the roster, which I found that was a tough sell.
Well, James Houston has a friend in Scott Anderson.
Look at this, top 100 player.
That's more than a friend.
Good job, Shorty. 248-539-9797.
Don't say that.
It's Carson Anderson. We got open lines. Hey, coming up next hour, Gator felt something in the air today. And you asked, is this a sign? We will get to that today at 12:02. And you got a demand of Scott Harris and A.J. Hinch. That at 12:30. 97.1 The Ticket. All right, at this hour, breaking news, another player added to the Lions practice squad.
Is this a whoa?
I think it is. I think it's technically really just the most ever.
Okay.
Quarterback David Blau.
It's not a wow, it's a blow.
Yeah. So they've added Blau. Have they subtracted Martinez, or right now are they keeping them both on it?
Martinez hasn't been re-signed. I got 12 of a possible 16.
Oh, Martinez isn't even on the practice squad.
No.
Okay, so it's Blau. Well, here's why it makes sense. Because Blau knows the offense.
Yeah.
Certainly more so than Martinez. Martinez is such a raw, I don't know what you would call him, prospect, I guess. But one thing that Martinez has that everybody loves is the ability to run.
Yeah, I think it's overrated for a quarterback. I mean, it's a nice thing in their tool to have in their toolbox, but it's way down the list of what I'm looking for in a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I won't argue on that. I mean, you certainly argue the other way on it. But what I would say this is that for a practice squad guy, I think it does. I would like to have that option because you're going to be practicing to take on Justin Fields, and you're going to take on Lamar Jackson this year, and quarterbacks that can really run. Who the hell's going to simulate that?
Maurice Alexander, who played quarterback at Florida International.
I suppose, but I think Martinez would do a better job of it.
Bottom line is, we can connect some dots and make some assumptions. One is maybe Hendon Hooker is going to be back sooner than we think. Two is he's their developmental guy, and Adrian Martinez isn't. So it's that simple.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me the slightest that Martinez isn't here and that David Blau is. I mean, we're talking about the third-string quarterback, the practice squad quarterback.
Yep. Scott, you're on 97.1 A Ticket. Hi, Scott.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Doesn't David Montgomery have to have a gigantic career year for the Lions to even attempt to live up to the hype? What I mean by that is because we got rid of Jamal Williams, obviously. We don't want to sign him for $4.5 million. He 17 touchdowns, and he was 11th in the league in rushing. So someone's got to pick up that slack.
Well, do you think that Jamal Williams would replicate that season this year if he were with the Lions?
I don't know because he's never done it before. I do know he's 28, and he did it. I've never seen Montgomery even do it.
Right. No, I get that. And here's what I think is tough to replicate: the 17 touchdowns. Someone's going to get those carries in goal line situations, and I don't know if it's going to be Montgomery or if it's going to be if they're going to pass more when they get in that situation. But where I think Montgomery far surpasses what Jamal Williams is able to do is I just think he's a better running back in total. I think he's going to get more yards rushing. I think that the tandem is really what I'm looking at. The tandem of Gibbs and Montgomery, I think, is better than the tandem of Swift and Williams.
I agree with you overall. For the whole running back, I think you're 100% right. My concern is part of the reason, I think the best part of our offense was red zone. We were number 5 overall in the red zone and number 3 in touchdowns. If we start kicking more field goals and scoring less touchdowns, and the spread, the most common scores are 20-17 and 24-27. So if we just start kicking more field goals and not touchdowns, those games are going to start turning to L's and not W's in a hurry.
I think you'll be surprised at how many touchdowns that Montgomery can have if he's given the same opportunity as Jamal Williams was given last year, because he's the same type of guy. He's gonna break tackles. He's gonna fall forward, and I think he's better.
My gut tells me that Jamal Williams is a talented running back, but the true brilliance behind the red zone success is the offensive line, and that if you give Montgomery the same opportunities, he will do many of the same things that Jamal Williams did. Now, I'm a giant David Montgomery fan. Admittedly, it goes back to pre-draft crush coming out of Iowa State. Mm-hmm. So I skew towards Montgomery, and I was disappointed he ended up not in Detroit, and I was even more disappointed he ended up in Chicago, and I'm ecstatic to have him.
Yeah, but
and
guys,
I do think he's going to have a monster year.
If you guys just look at the next-gen stats and the film, David Montgomery just makes more guys miss than Jamal Williams does. So given these same opportunities, you would think that he could at least, accomplish the short, yardage situation, the goal line stuff. And then for the other stuff, just have a higher per yard carry. There's a lot of meat left on the bone they felt with Jamal Williams out there last year. And Montgomery, if he has the same holes, can do more with it.
Kang, did you say we got numbers on T.J. Hockenson?
Oh, yeah, we got numbers, all right. We got numbers. Here's the compensation according to Adam Schefter. T.J. Hockenson signing a 4-year, $68.5 million contract extension. This resets the entire tight end market. He will be the highest paid tight end in the league per season. It's $17.125. And it's $17.125 because Darren Waller is currently making $17 million a year. So they did that on purpose. So he's the highest paid tight end now.
Well,
and his guaranteed money is $42.5 million. $42.5 million is the highest ever guaranteed for a tight end in history. Now, Doug, you were the one who liked Hockenson as a pick, and everyone gave you crap for that, right? Yep. But in the end, the Lions didn't win with him, all right, nearly enough. But he's the highest paid tight end in the NFL history. What does that help your argument that he was actually a good pick or player? Or
You'll be seeing me doing my victory lap around Comerica Park.
I know you won't. But
actually, no. It doesn't make him the best tight end. It makes him the highest paid tight end.
And the Lions were better without him. They literally won more games without him.
Yep.
This was a brilliant trade by Holmes because you don't have to pay T.J. Hockenson, and then you made someone in your division pay tight end with T.J. Hockenson, right?
I mean, that's a great point.
They're going to have no money left over once they sign Justin Jefferson.
I can't believe this.
So they'll have to start over with a new quarterback, perhaps.
So are we to assume then that Brad Holmes saw this coming and said, yeah, we appreciate your efforts, but we're not paying you that, and moved on?
I think 100%. I mean, we said it at the time when they made the trade, we were trying to rationalize why would you trade him, and the reason why is because you didn't want to give him the next contract because you knew the next contract was going to be big. Did we think it was going to be this big?
I did not.
No, I did not think it was going to be this big, and it's giant, giving him over $17 million a year. I don't see the value in that, but they're going to go for it, and it's good on them, I guess, but I think better on the Lions to recognize that was going to be too much of a signing for them to hang on to.
Yeah, that's a crazy amount.
Money elsewhere.
That's a crazy amount of money for T.J. Hockenson.
And that's why you trade in the division.
Well, yeah. I mean, are you scared that he's with Minnesota?
I'm not.
I'm not.
They had him all last year. Look, Minnesota's a decent football team.
And he's a good player, but not highest in the history of the game good. I mean, got it. Like, somebody's going to surpass it next, and then I'll get surpassed again. And,
but
and
it's like
everybody gets paid
contract.
more. But if you had told me, has he done anything that leads you to believe he should be the highest paid tight end in the league? And the answer, of course, is no.
No.
Whew.
But that's an agent that's looking ahead and saying, well, look, the salary cap is going to go up every year. We know this, so we're getting ahead of it. You guys are going to get him in. Right now he's going to be the highest paid guy, but look, when Kittle's contract comes up or Kelsey's contract, we know that it's going to go higher, and Kyle Pitts or whatever.
I go back to it. Our guy's a ninja. He saw it coming. Our guy's a ninja. It's well played. All right, we couldn't follow through on what we were going to talk about, but we'll swing around the NFL next. And later, Gators got some demands for those that run the Tigers. With all respect due.
All respect
due. We'll get to that at 12:30 here on Carson Anderson outside Comerica Park. 97.1 The Ticket.
Hey, if you're looking for the top gun of whiskeys, you got to look no further than Flying Ace Spirits whiskey. It's made for the adventurous, the cunning, and the bold. Flying Ace Spirits is a small batch American-made bourbon. It's blended in Holland, Michigan, and yep, it's part of the Coppercraft family as well, so you know that it is quality stuff. And let me tell you something. You get ready for those tailgate parties, whether you're going to East Lansing tomorrow night or you're going to Ann Arbor on Saturday, why not bring a bottle of Flying Ace bourbon with you? Make everybody at your tailgate feel even better about themselves. You get the party started right. And look, what I love about Flying Ace is that you can drink it any way you want. It is a versatile spirit. Do shots with your friends to kickstart things, or if you want to just sip it all day long, you can do that. Pour it over some ice. Have it with a mixer like a ginger ale or a cola. Either way, it's all delicious. It's a blend of aged whiskeys with notes of caramel, toasted rye, vanilla, and ripe stone fruit. I mentioned it's versatile as well. And listen, here's the best part. At only $30 a bottle, Flying Ace Spirits Bourbon is not going to bust your budget at all. Follow at Flying Ace Spirits. They're on Instagram, and you can stay up to date on their upcoming releases. And as always, please drink responsibly.
a Milwaukee bar has something concocted for football season, they will pay your tab when the Jets lose a game started by Aaron Rodgers this season. Did you see this?
I did. I think it's awesome. I think it's genius.
Now, there's some stipulations, right, Heather? I know, like, they're not comping your whole meal.
Right. You can't comp your food. You have to stay at the bar the entire
Right. You've got to
game.
you got to be there and start your tab at least 15 minutes before kickoff.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers has to start the game. And so it can't conflict with a Green Bay Packers game as well, which
exactly
rules out certain Sundays.
Yeah,
So
unless
there's
there's some things flexed at the end.
4
of the season.
games, I think, in total
That
that
this
they'll
is-
do this.
So
So basically, it's prime time games, featured games where Rodgers starts for the Jets, they lose, and they're buying your beer or your drink for you.
Yes.
If we had a promotion like that here in Detroit, if a local bar adopted this, would it be Aaron Rodgers? Would it be a different athlete? Like, who would be our villain that we would get comped a free drink if they lose?
Look, do I want to kick the tires on Robbie Gould? Absolutely. Absolutely. See, what do you still got the leg? Do you still want to play? You know, what's the reason he hasn't been signed by anybody yet? There are a plethora of teams that need a kicker.
Yeah.
Is there something else going on there? If there's not, then I think the Lions, who are the other teams you mentioned that Racina mentioned?
Rams.
Okay, get the
I think
Rams.
it's the Rams, Falcons, but hold on, let me look it up.
So it's like the Rams and Niners both kick outdoors.
Rams, Lions, Titans, Niners, Broncos.
So it's just the Lions are the only ones that are kicking indoors?
Rams.
Oh, right. Well, is it?
It's
indoors?
it's kind of got the retractable walls. So.
Yeah. And I don't think the Rams are looking to add a veteran kicker to their roster. Do you? It's a really young team. And
I wouldn't.
Looks
I
like
wouldn't
you're starting
think so,
over.
but, yeah.
So, I mean, the Lions would have the best situation, wouldn't you think?
Well, the situation being indoors with a competitive team as opposed to San Francisco's situation. But San Francisco, remember, they're not signing Robbie Gould, and they had him last year.
Right.
Something's up with Robbie Gould.
I imagine everybody has a please God don't cut this guy that's on the Lions roster. Please don't cut him. Like, you think that this guy could be something, a diamond in the rough. You don't want to see him go by the wayside. Who would that player be for you? And Kang, I'll start. For me, that guy is Antoine Green. He's the wide receiver that they drafted in the 7th round from North Carolina. He was the 219th player selected in the draft. I love his combination of size and speed. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. He's fast as hell, and he's somebody that I think could benefit from Jamison Williams not playing for the first 6 games, because he could be a guy that you could bring off the bench in situations. You spread him out with 4 receivers, and this guy can go deep, and you're going to have to account for him because he's got the speed and because the size might be a mismatch.
Carson Anderson outside Comerica Park here on 97.1 The Ticket. Okay, so Gator wants to make a demand of Scott Harris and A.J. Hinch, and you put in your show sheet, with all due respect.
With all due respect, which, of course, when you say with all due respect,
trouble,
you're about to cross a line a little bit. And I'm not.
You're not really crossing
I'm
a
not
line.
crossing a line. No, but here's what I'm saying, all right?
Yeah.
The Tigers have lost 5 in a row now. The last 6 games, you go back to the game they won in the 9th inning, same thing here. Aside from that 1 inning, they haven't had any offense.
Yep.
And the pitching's been bad, too. It's just been a whole cluster all around. We got, 29 games left in the season?
Yep.
Now's the time. Now's the time to go ahead and bring up Malloy and Keith. And I understand what Scott Harris says when he says, and A.J. Hinch says the same thing. When they both say, well, we can appreciate everybody wanting to bring those guys up because they're hitting well, but, we want them to come up when they're complete players. This is my, with all due respect, part.
Yep.
I don't care anymore. I really don't care that they're not ready defensively. It doesn't matter to me, okay? You've got plenty of at-bats that you can allocate to the rest of the season to the DH spot when you're not going to play Miggy.
Yep.
You got other people who can play DH. How about one of these guys? I'd rather see one of these guys than, DHing McKinstry or whatever you're going to do.
Everybody would. I would, with all respect due to Zach McKinstry.
Yeah. A lot of respect.
The dude just caught a stray for no reason.
For no reason.
He was named AAA Player of the Week last week. He hit .458 with a 1490 OPS, 3 homers and 10 RBIs.
Who's that?
And Cole Keith.
There you go.
In his last 15 games, he's got 6 homers. He's hit .355 with a .417 on base. His walk rate was 11.1. Like, this is, give him a taste and give us a pulse.
Well, he can hit. We know he can hit, right? And at the AAA level, where I think now he's got, does he have more at-bats? No, he doesn't have more at-bats at AAA than at AA, but he crushed it at AA. Mm-hmm. He's gone to AAA, and he's done the same thing. He's hitting like .299 at AAA. His RBI rate is so good. It's sick how good it is. I'm pretty sure he can hit at this at that. He's done what he can do at the level. Bring him up the next level. Now, if your apprehension is, well, we're not sure if he can handle third base or second base yet with Major League precision,
that's fine.
We'd like to wait. I understand that, but I don't care anymore.
Right.
As a fan, because look, you're not worrying about starting the service time at this point because there's only 29 games left in the season. Let them get their taste. You gotta starting tomorrow. You can expand the roster by 2 spots. Now, neither of these guys, I don't think they're on the 40-man roster, so you'd have to make some moves. Well, go ahead and make some moves. No one's going to argue about what you're going to do here if you bring these guys up. And Malloy he's just been crushing it all season there. You know, his average may not be as high, but I think he's like a 288 hitter. Then his OPS is well into the 800s. You know, he deserves a chance to play. Both of these guys have hit better than what Parker Meadows was hitting at Toledo. Now, Parker Meadows came up because, and we saw it again last night on full display, he is phenomenal as a defender. That play he made chasing down the ball in the straightaway center field where he's dead sprint and then just reaches up, snags it out of the air, unbelievable, right? And so that's why he's up. But these guys are already more advanced as hitters. So why not bring them up?
This might be telling as it pertains to Colt Keith. In West Michigan 2 years ago, or last year I guess it was, he had 217 plate appearances before he got called up to Erie. At Erie, he had 276 plate appearances, and currently at Toledo, he's got 207. So somewhere between 217 and 276 at the previous 2 stops, they felt like they'd seen enough. So maybe he's right there. Maybe he's just a couple of days away from getting to that spot. But bottom line is, it feels like it's time.
Yeah, it is. It just is. And with this team struggling to hit as they have, I mean, we're like celebrating guys who can hit 230.
Yeah,
we're celebrating a guy that if your OPS is over 750, you know, I mean it's pathetic how where it's come to with baseball today that the average OPS is down that low. And if you look at the Tigers, how few players they have that are even average OPS players with your on-base percentage plus your slugging percentage. That, you know, bringing in both of these guys, just let's see what they have. Now, the argument against that is like, okay, you can bring up a guy who looks like he's a complete hitter at the AAA level and they can bomb like Nevin did.
Yeah.
Tyler Nevin killed it at AAA. Didn't hit at all with the Tigers. They sent him back down, and what is he doing? He's still killing it at AAA.
Right.
Nick Maton was hitting just fine at AAA and has hit really nicely at AAA since he's been sent back down. But we know he couldn't handle it at the major league level. Well, it's basically a 30-game run. It's a less than 30-game run. Give him a chance, whether it's 20 games or whenever you decide to bring him up. But I'm hoping it happens soon to just give them the opportunity to dip their foot in the water, get it wet, and then you go into, you know, the fall league if either going to play and get some at bats in the fall league, and then you get into spring training with a chance to make the big league club. I just want them to have a chance here. And as a fan, I think I could speak for all fans, or most fans. We're dying to see these guys. We want to see hitters.
Are you saying do it now or fire A.J. Hinch and Scott Harris?
I'm not saying that because I really like
no,
both.
I mean,
really
honestly,
like both guys. I love A.J. Hinch as a manager, and I think Scott Harris has done some really nice things. I love the draft that he had, and I think he's made some decent moves.
They've been very consistent in the way they've operated, and they probably want to maintain a level of consistency, but I mean, you'd have to think they're kind of chomping at the bit to see what they can do, too. Especially, I mean, does Colt Keith, I feel like he's got a legitimate shot to be the opening day third baseman next year. I think he does.
Third or second?
Yeah, so get him up here, and let's see the deficiencies on full display.
Yeah.
I mean,
how bad are you?
By the way, we were talking about the Nebraska volleyball game in front of the
1,000, 2,000 people. Yeah.
We got a couple of texts on that. I would pay to go to the Big House to watch Michigan versus Iowa in wrestling. 2 highly ranked wrestling teams would be a major draw. And then Scott in Waterford says, non-rev? Is that what Doug's father called him when he was younger? Because my dad asked me once when I was a teenager, when are you going to start being an asset and stop being such an effing liability? Yeah. Which my friends thought it was the funniest thing ever.
Still is.
I think he probably did think in the back of my mind that I was a complete and total non-rev. All right. Enjoy Tiger Baseball next. Talk to you tomorrow. Carson Anderson, 97.1.
Here's another guy that I think has really good value. And it's diminishing a little bit because they know he's probably going to be released. It's the guy that's had 4 sacks, and that's Julian Okwara. I think he's going to be an odd man out.
Trade.
Has performed well, but yeah, you have from now until Tuesday to try and get something in return for Julian Okwara. Is there a receiver out there that you believe can give you another weapon, another option that maybe another team is looking, hey, we want to cut to, but we need somebody on the edge to rush the passer, not a starter, but a backup guy.
Yep.
Is there a deal to be made?
So you don't think Okwara is going to make the team if he's
Julian? I don't think so.
Okay.
7 edge rushers is tough.
I know, and I know the number crunch there, but man, don't owns Enrique potentially making the team and him not?
But again, it's different position.
I know it's different position. It's just wow.
a Milwaukee bar has something concocted for football season. They will pay your tab when the Jets lose a game started by Aaron Rodgers this season. Did you see this?
I did. I think it's